Brick by brick, street by street, a city rises, and with it, fortunes are made. Some homes whisper wealth over time, and their walls absorb history, and with their values climbing like the morning sun. Others stand still, untouched by the rhythms of change, lost in the shadows of wiser investments. Now, what makes all the difference? What makes one property soar while another stand still? Is it the soil beneath it, or is it the stories around it? Is it the timing of the purchase, or is it just the vision of the buyer? Today, we unravel the mystery of property appreciation, but not with speculation, but rather with wisdom, facts, and strategy. If you dream of owning your own real estate that grows, not just in size, but also in worth, then stay with me. I'm Desmond Kafui, and you're welcome to Ghana Ground Up, your trusted real estate guide to navigating Ghana's evolving market. Whether you're looking to buy or whether you're looking to invest in your first home, or maybe simply you just want to understand how property value grows over time, today's episode is for you. So we hear a lot about capital appreciation. I mean, real estate marketers and salespeople throw out statements like your property will double in value in the next 5 years, or this location is a very high growth area and all that. But then what do all this really mean? Yes, it's true that property values go up generally, but then why do some properties increase in value while others barely move? What really drives the property appreciation? What factors should you consider before buying a property if you want your investment to grow in value? Or simply put, how can you as a buyer position yourself for maximum returns on your real estate investment? Today, we're breaking it all down. No sales gimmicks, no hype, just real insights to help you make smart property decisions. So then, let's get into it. When we talk about a property appreciating in value, we mean that over time, the price of the property goes up. Meaning, if you buy a house today for 1 million Ghana cedis, and in 5 years, that same house is now worth 1.5 million Ghana cedis, your property has appreciated by 50%. Now, property values don't just increase randomly. Some properties appreciate at a relatively fast pace, while others remain stagnant. And you may be wondering, why is this so? Well, the value of a property and its appreciation are driven by specific factors, and some of these factors are within your control, while others are not. Now, there are two main types of property appreciation that we need to be aware of. There's the natural appreciation, and normally this happens because of external factors like economic growth, infrastructure development, and demand for housing. And normally the circumstances that dictate the natural appreciation over time will be something that is not within your control. And there's nothing you can do about this. I mean, you just have to ride the waves as they come along. You can only hope that the situations will work in your favor. And so far, it's been a pretty good ride for real estate in Ghana. Now, the other appreciation is forced appreciation, which happens when you, the property owner, intentionally increases the value of the property through renovations, upgrades, or excellent property management. Now, concerning property management, generally, we all believe that a property owner will do very well to take good care of his or her house. Now, the issue of good property management normally comes up with regards to rental properties. But in all, if you manage your property very well, you can expect a good boost in the returns on your investment. So then let's talk about the key factors that influence the appreciation of a property in the market, especially with focus on Ghana. The number one factor in property appreciation is location. We hear it all the time: location, location, location. If you take one thing away from this episode, let it be this: location is king. Now, in real estate, where you buy is often more important than what you buy. Let me take that again. In real estate, where you buy is often more important than what you buy. Got it? Well, let's take Accra for example. Certain areas have consistently appreciated in value over the years. Places like Cantonment, Airport Residential Area, Ridge, and East Legon. And these locations have seen very huge appreciations over time simply because they are well planned, they are close to key amenities, and of course, they are in high demand. So let's take a closer look at what makes one location appreciate in value more easily over another location. Now, one of the first things we need to consider is the proximity of the location to essential services. Now, think of good schools, shopping malls, hospitals, and major roads. If your property is near these key service centers, the value will naturally rise. That's why homes that are close to places like the Accra Mall, Kotoka International Airport, or top international schools tend to appreciate faster over others. Now, if you check most of the apartment projects that have sold very well over time, and also the ongoing ones around town, one of the major selling points that the developers use is how close the project is to Kotoka International Airport. The faster you can get to the airport, the better the developer's marketing flex and the better the sales will be. And beyond the airport, you'd also see other key spots highlighted in marketing materials just to paint a good picture of the location. Who says location isn't a big deal? Another factor that makes a location appreciate in value is the upcoming development in that location or in that area. Now, if an area has major infrastructure projects on the way, like let's say a new highway, a shopping district, or some government offices, it's likely to see a price surge. Now, a great example is Tema Community 25 road expansion project. Now, even though the project has been stalled and there's barely any construction activity there at the moment, the fact that some development scheme is in place threw the spotlight on Community 25 as a hot location, and most people have moved there. Now, it's just unfortunate that the current traffic situation on that stretch is very, very unpleasant and highly frustrating. Now, before the expansion scheme, lands in Community 25 and surrounding areas were much cheaper, but then go and ask of the prices now and you will see the stark difference from some years back and then what we have now. One other factor that helps to boost the value of a property in a location is the transformation of that location into an economic hub with job opportunities. Now, what do I mean? Areas where businesses are booming will definitely see increased demand for housing. People definitely want to move to where the action is. So that is why Accra is very, very choked. Everyone wants to be close to the action in Accra, and so you'll see that areas like Spintex has seen some steady growth in property value with many companies and many expatriates setting up shop there. Just drive along the Spintex road and you'll see what I mean. As you've seen, a good location makes almost all the difference. But beyond a good location, another factor that often drives property appreciation is the supply and demand. That is, with regards to the supply and demand, we have this thing we call the scarcity effect. Now, it's simple economics, and this is a case where demand is high, but then the supply is low. And so when this happens, the prices go up. Now, when there are few properties and the demand for them is high, definitely the prices of these properties will go up. This is why areas like Airport Residential Area, Cantonment, and Laboni will always appreciate, because there's very limited land available for new projects. Scarcity creates value, and you'd see cases where a developer will buy an old property, tear it down, and raise up a new project just to meet the demand. Just drive around Cantonment and Laboni and you see the number of apartment projects going up at the same time. Why is this happening? There is demand. On the flip side, places with unregulated expansion and uncontrolled land supply, where anyone can build anything at all without proper planning, often tend to struggle to appreciate. When anyone can build anything anywhere, property values don't grow as fast as compared to other areas that are well planned and also well managed. So as an investor, look for areas where supply is naturally controlled. Buy in an area where the demand is high, but then the supply is controlled by the zoning laws or limited land availability. This could be probably a gated community or a well-planned neighborhood. And talking about gated communities, there's a new 5-acre project in East Legon Hills I believe you will be keen on. Their offers include 2-bedroom apartments and then 3- and 4-bedroom duplexes and standalone houses. If you'd like to know more about this mystery project, just do well to send us a message at hi@ghanagroundup.com, or you can send us a DM on our social media pages. Hopefully, we'll get to share more about this project in the times ahead. And on the side, this isn't one of those projects that are laden with issues and very funny schemes. This is very, very different. This is something I can personally vouch for. Anyway, let's move on. We've covered how location and supply and demand affect the appreciation of property in a location. Now, another important factor which is often out of your control is market cycles. Now, these cycles will often push you to decide whether you should buy now or whether you should wait till situations stabilize before you buy. And generally, real estate goes through cycles, but then these cycles may not be very obvious to those who are looking at the industry from afar. But then for those who live and breathe real estate, they will tell you that the seasons are not always the same. The first phase is the boom phase, where property prices rise rapidly due to high demand. And in this phase, you'll see a lot of activity where people are buying and also developers are selling. It's basically an active market. And this phase is then followed by the slowdown phase, where, as the name connotes, everything slows down. There are fewer sales and there are fewer transactions. Property prices often stabilize in this phase, and in this period, people often hold on to their monies to see how things will unfold before they make any commitments. Finally, there's the recovery phase, where property prices pick up again after the dip, and the market begins to come alive again. So then, these three phases often form the real estate market cycle, and some investors try to time the market by waiting for the prices to drop before they buy. But then here's the truth. In Ghana, property prices rarely crash, and they either grow fast or they grow slowly, but to crash, that isn't something that we're used to. But to have the market crash, people will have to drastically slash the prices of their properties, and I don't think that is something that is likely to happen anytime soon. I'm sure you've heard of some people making the cliche statement that the best time to buy real estate was yesterday and the next best time is today. Well, it's cliche, but it's absolutely true. So if you want to be a smarter investor and enjoy some good appreciation over time, don't necessarily wait for the perfect time. There's really nothing like the perfect time. Rather, I'd advise you to scout and buy early in high potential areas. For example, those who have bought land in OEB or Aibensa a few years ago have seen a huge appreciation as infrastructure and demand have increased. And the coming of the Aibensa Park project also has boosted the appeal of the location, and that has also been coupled with a good road infrastructure. So, if you want to wait for too long, you may end up paying a significantly higher price for the same property. So you want to act smart, you want to act quickly. But then it doesn't mean you have to throw caution to the wind. But whichever way you go, just make sure you're making a move. Another factor that drives property appreciation is upgrades and maintenance. Now, looking past what's already been said, not all property appreciation is driven by the market. As a property owner, you can force your property to appreciate in value by making some smart and strategic upgrades. So, let's look at some things you can do differently that will add value to your property. You can work on some modern interior and exterior renovations, and you'd see that a well-maintained house with contemporary finishes will definitely appreciate faster than one with an outdated design. But simply put, upgrading your house and bringing it into the modern era will definitely boost its value. Now, secondly, you can consider some energy efficient upgrades like adding maybe solar panels and integrating some smart home features into your property. You can also look at expanding any usable space in a sense that if there's some unused space in the property or on the property, you can convert it or expand it into a living quarters. So a simple house may now become a simple house, all right, but then with an outhouse, which is more desirable. In the end, any upgrade you make to your house should be able to enhance the state of the property and make it more appealing to potential buyers. But then you've got to be smart about this. Not all renovations add value to the property the way you'd want it to. So you have to be very careful you don't overspend on features buyers are not likely to care about. When you're upgrading, make sure that you are intentional about it and your intention to be to sell it and not just to overly spend on features that are personal to you, what you'd like to see in the property. Keep it simple and also keep it very cost effective. Finally, one other factor that helps in property appreciation is inflation and economic conditions. Now, we often don't think of inflation in light of making gains or profits. We're mostly concerned with the rise in the prices of goods and services, but then property owners are often pleased when there's inflation because it creates an avenue for their properties to increase in price. When inflation is high, the cost of building materials, the cost of labor, and also the cost of land go up. Now, this means that property prices will also go up because property developers will need to adjust to the rising costs. And this is why property prices in Ghana rarely drop, and they're always on the rise. And people will probably be wondering, when will prices go down? Once we have inflation on the rise, property prices are not likely to come down anytime soon. Beyond inflation, interest rates also make a very huge difference, such that when the mortgage rates are low, more people buy houses, and this creates a demand for properties, and this in turn raises property prices because of the demand. But unfortunately, interest rates in Ghana are already very high, and they keep going up slowly but surely, and this makes it hard for many people to take mortgages even though they are eager to acquire a property. Now, if you're in a position to buy now, don't wait for too long. Prices are more likely to go up than to come down. And here are some tips that can help you to make some smart buying decisions for the maximum appreciation you may be looking out for. Number one, do a thorough research. Don't just buy any property based on the hype the property is receiving or based on what people are saying. You need to investigate the growth potential of that area, and you also need to be abreast with what is happening on the ground in that area to give you a good idea of what you can expect in the times ahead. Secondly, you want to prioritize the location and the infrastructure in that area ahead of just the price of the property. You want to choose a place with upcoming developments or a place that is in high demand, and don't just buy because the price of the property is low. Eventually, many undeveloped places will evolve, but then as an investor, you don't want to just wait for so long to reap the returns on your investment. I mean, buy in a developing area or close to a developing area, but then don't go investing in a very remote place where reasonable development is not likely to get there anytime soon. And this tip makes a good segue into the fact that you need to think long term. Yes, you don't want to wait for too long to enjoy the returns on your investment, but then you also have to understand that real estate isn't a short-term game. Normally, you may want to look at between 5 to 10 years ahead of time when you're considering an investment. Finally, it helps to work with industry professionals to get it right. A good real estate broker can help you spot properties with very strong appreciation potential over others that you may think are good, but then may not offer much promise in the times ahead. For a property to appreciate in value, it's not about luck, but then some people believe it takes some amount of luck. But beyond that, you need to make the right choices. You need to have the right strategy. And whether you're buying for a personal use or as an investment, making the right choices like giving attention to the location, demand for the property, and also the future developments in that area will line you up to enjoy some good gains in the future. That wraps it up for today's episode. And if you found what we've shared useful, do well to like the video and also share it with your network. You can post it on your status or whatever way you find convenient. But whatever you do, do well to share the link and also do well to subscribe to the channel. We believe that just as you've picked a few tips from today's episode, more people also need to catch up on what we share from time to time. If there are any topics you would like us to cover, you can reach out to us in our DMs or send us an email at hi@ghanagroundup.com, and definitely we'll do well to consider whatever you share with us. If you got any questions, we'd love to hear from you as well. Many thanks for tuning in to today's episode. I'm Desmond Kafui, and this is Ghana Ground Up. I'll catch you in the next episode. This episode and all the other episodes of Ghana Ground Up right from day one were shot by KAIROS House Studios. The studio is open for bookings if you want your corporate photo shoot, your events, photography, videography, or you're looking at starting your own podcast as well. Do well to reach out to KAIROS House Studios. Their information will be on the screen. And as I said, they're open to bookings. So do well to get in line before probably the times that may be favorable to you may be taken up by someone else. Many thanks to KAIROS House Studios once again for being a partner of Ghana Ground Up.